I'm Liv and today I'm going to be reading my most anticipated TikTok hype read. I am just out of a book slump. I recently did a video where I was reading romance reads for Valentine's and I ended up reading 4 books, so go check that out. And I'm out of my book slump, I am back in my reading era and I'm ready to read more. So I have 2 books in mind so far. By the way, I'm so sorry about my dodgy breakdown. It's we're gonna ignore it. 2 books in mind so far. So the first one I have in mind that I have started just now, I've just read 20 pages, is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I did start this literally today. I've just finished A Court of Mist and Fury in the last video, so yeah. And I really enjoy this ACOTAR series. I'm so obsessed with it, and people are saying this book is emotional, certain quotes and things. And on the back of this it says that there's like a secret, somebody else's secret is going to come out, because obviously there's her secret of what's happening right now, which is just so intense. And I'm adoring the ACOTAR series, as I've said. So I'm really excited to read this and see what happens. It's a 700-page book. Loving the cover art, I think it's beautiful. My second book that I have in mind is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Loads of people talk about this. It is another fantasy or romantasy, but loads and loads of people talk about it and how it's really good and how there's a second one coming out or something. So I would love to read that book because people say that the romance between Kai and, I don't know what the other name is, it was a P, but people say that their romance is like ridiculously good. But I did read like 10 pages and I was hooked, I was interested, so that's gonna be another one. I am at page 50 and this book is brilliant. So when it said in the last book that Feyre was going to become like the spy, I was genuinely like, I thought I had an idea of what type of stuff she'd be doing, but I did not have any idea that she was going to be this clever. So I don't know if I explain what this book is, but from the blurb it says that like Feyre's obviously trying to uncover the secrets in the Spring Court and uncover the plan, because Spring Court is now her enemy. I would recommend not watching this video, by the way, if you want to start ACOTAR, because this will literally ruin the series for you. I won't say any spoilers about Court of Wings and Ruin, but things could be potentially ruined for the other books for you if you watch this video and you've not seen the other books. Faye was obviously hiding things and there's other secrets there that we don't know about. Her relationship with Lucien is so strange because he knows that something's happening, he knows that something's changed about her, and she's not letting him in. And her plan to like turn everyone against each other is just working so well. I mean, the amount of annotating I'm doing, like look at all this. I'm so enthralled in this book, like I can see it, but I'm so enthralled in this book because Feyre is so smart, and I appreciate when characters in books that we're following, like the character we're following along with, is smart. I love it. I hate it when a character is just stupid. It's taking me by surprise. He is managing to speak to Rhysand through the bond, and it's breaking my heart every time, but this book is really good. But I know, I think I said this earlier, this book is going to reveal what Tamlin did, like what other thing he's got secret. I'm very excited. But yeah, I'm on part 1 of this book so far, 50 pages in, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. It's so good.
Saturday night, sensational double thrill, stock car spectacular at 7:30 at noon.
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer.
this book, oh my god, I didn't think I was going to say this, but this book could potentially be my favourite book in the ACOTAR series. I really didn't expect that. I honestly thought that A Court of Mist and Fury was going to be my absolute favourite, but this book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, I don't know what it is about it, but I'm just so hooked on so many levels. Let's actually take a minute to look at how the bookmark matches the book. That's everything to me, I just love that. Okay, where am I up to? So I'm up to page 142 and the annotating is happening. I am honestly, if I'm annotating a book, it's because I'm really loving it. Like, I've only annotated, I think, 3 physical books ever. And that is A Court of Mist and Fury, this, and Love Redesigned. I've not annotated anything else ever. The book is brilliant. So since I left you, we were on page 50, I'm on page 142 now, and well, 143. I'm about to start chapter 15, and we had our first part, we're now in the second part, and it is brilliant. So I'm going back to page 50 to figure out what had just happened to see where I'm updating you. Okay, so I was about to start chapter 6 the last time I updated you. So Feyre is incredibly smart. She's an incredibly oh my goodness. She's an incredibly smart woman, and she knows what she's doing. And she's incredibly cunning and sneaky, and it's everything. Since then, we have seen her put plans in place to take down Tamlin, basically, and she is such a good little actress with like playing this part. I love it. Iantha, I knew to be worried about her. I don't know if you remember in the last video where I spoke about A Court of Mist and Fury, I kept saying how I didn't like Iantha and how I didn't trust her. I was right, and that's all come out more in this book, showing how much more of a person she is to not trust and hate. Lucien is starting to redeem himself, but he is still annoying me slightly. But anywho, so loads of things happened, loads of things in the plan went to plan, and you know, as she hoped, did happen, and turning people against certain people and annoying Tamlin enough that he lashes out at her. Loads of things that look really bad for him, and she's managed to get away now, and we've seen the Autumn Court, and we've seen the Winter Court, I think. Let me look at the map. This is why the map's so helpful. So we've seen the Autumn Court and we've seen the Winter Court, and now we're back in the Night Court. So it seems like throughout the books we're seeing more and more of the courts. So far we've seen, out of all the books, we've seen the Spring Court, Under the Mountain, Summer Court, Autumn Court, Winter Court, and I think that's it. Oh, and the Night Court, obviously, and Velaris. But we have not seen the Day Court or Dawn Court at all. So maybe that'll be in the next book, maybe it's gonna be in this book, I don't know. So far I have read this little chunk at the top. It doesn't look like much at all, but so much has happened. I cannot believe how much has happened in the space of like 150 pages. It's ridiculous. I'm loving it. The characters are brilliant as always. Asriel's quiet self is still being shown, and Cassian being like this brute. I just love it. He's so like cocky. We've not seen Elaine and Nesta yet, so we don't quite know what the effects are of what happened in the last book. We don't know what they're like anymore. We've not seen them at all, but we know that they're okay. Lucien is taking everything in. He's a bit gobsmacked at things, which I do understand. Feyre is getting to show her true potential. Like, we've been seeing glimpses of her using her powers throughout the book. And I just want to say, Cassian and Asriel's allegiance for her, basically them putting their life down for her is everything. She is on the same level as Rhys to them, whereas in Tamlin's court and the Spring Court, she's beneath Tamlin. Like, it's just, Tamlin annoys me. He's constantly not letting Feyre leave the house, like in the other book, and constantly saying, oh well, you don't need to do this because I'll protect you. And now all of a sudden he's like violent towards her and aggressive and shutting down her opinions like just so quickly, like not even hearing her out even though she's meant to be his lady. No, I said my aim is to get to page 100 today, but I'm just too hooked. Nothing else is going to keep my attention like this book right now, so I'm thinking of getting to page 200 and have a little rest stop for a bit, but I don't know. we shall see. But right now the plot is brilliant. The plot is excellent. So in A Court of Mist and Fury, I was kind of like, in the first 100 pages, I was like, is this going anywhere? But in this one, I'm 140 pages in, and so much has happened. Like we've gone to Spring Court, Winter Court, Autumn Court, and now we're in the Night Court. Like we've been to 4 courts within 150 pages. That's insane. The amount of plot there is brilliant. The speed is so fast paced, and I'm fully enthralled in this book. This could end up being my favourite one, to be fair. I can see that happening. I'm gonna do a little bit of an update. So I have literally been sat in my room all morning with my blanket on, just reading. It is the next day, by the way. I didn't actually mention that. This book is so good. So I've gotten to page 277. I have no words. Feyre's character is so smart. She's not stupid, she's not making ridiculous decisions, and I love a smart main character. I hate it when the female characters in books are like just thick and make stupid decisions, but she's really not. She's actually thinking about things before she's doing it, which I applaud. The characters that we already know, they have layers to them. So we've seen more of Asriel, and he is so quiet and keeps to himself, and we've seen him come out of his shell more. We've seen Cassian. Cassian's always been quite like a loud, chatty, just a bit of a cheeky guy, and in this one we've seen more of his like softer side. We've seen more of his other side, seen more of his more emotional sides and what's actually going on inside of him and like in his mind and things. We've also seen more of her sensitive sides, because we know her as being this like really, you know, she holds herself very well, and you know, but we've seen more of her sensitive sides in this one. I'm a big fan of the pace in this book. I feel like it's definitely all moving at the right pace, and nothing's taking a million years. I feel like that's one of my favourite things about this book, is like nothing is taking too long to happen. I've read that much so far, so I am a good chunk into it, and it is honestly really good. I'd say this book to me is the most action-packed out of all of them. We've seen, okay, where am I up to about the plot? So in the plot, we've just had a meeting with, what's his name? I don't have to say his name. We've just had a meeting with Keir. Is it Keir or Care? We've had a meeting with Care basically, and it was a very interesting meeting. Loads of things came out that some of the characters didn't even know about, secret scheming. We've seen more of Nesta and Elaine, and I like the way in which we're seeing them. I know that we're not getting much from Elaine, but I feel like that's very fitting for what she's going through right now and everything that's happening in her head. Lucien's character is interesting, and I don't quite know if I'm going to end up liking Lucien or if I'm still going to be a bit on the fence with him, but right now his character is improving, and the more and more we're hearing about things that have happened in the past, the more I'm hating Tamlin more and more. Like little bits and pieces that I'm just like, really? Really, you let that happen? But we've also seen more about Lucien's brother Eren, and I personally feel like there's something that we don't know about, like his reasonings for doing stuff, the reasons for doing bad things, and I feel like that is going to come out at some point, but I don't think it's going to come out yet. Hello, it is the next day, and I did stay up until 3 AM reading this book. I cannot lie, I just could not put it down for the life of me. So we have gotten quite far. I mean, that's how much we have read. I'm at page 446, so that's quite a decent chunk. I'm really loving this book, and this could potentially be my favourite ACOTAR book. I think I've already said that, but it's a really strong tie between this and A Court of Mist and Fury. So much has happened. We've had things go wrong, things go right. Not everything is going to plan, and this war is coming, whether or not they like it, whether they like it or not, basically, and they need to be ready for it. Everyone in the Night Court is really trying to rally up people to help them and have an alliance. So we've just had a meeting with loads of the lords, loads of the high lords, which I loved. I mean, in the first book, we didn't have loads of characters. We had mainly Lucien and Tamlin in the whole of the book. We met Rhysand and Amaranthia, and that was basically it. The second book we met loads of more characters, but in this book we've met more characters, and oh my god, I'm just so happy. I love meeting more and more characters. Tamlin is I'd say he's on my last nerve, but he's not even on that. Like, he's gone. I hate it. He was in the book just now, and he's just so snarky to Feyre because she doesn't want him. Like, she doesn't want you. Move on. It's not that deep. It's making me feel sick, like, the idea of this war. I just want Rhysand, Feyre, Cassian, all of them to be okay. Like, I'm really worried and really nervous because with fantasy, like, nothing is off limits. Like, anybody can die. I don't know if the war can happen in this book. I'm honestly really unsure what's gonna happen. I mean, we've only got this chunk left, but so much has happened in this chunk here. So, like, it's completely possible for war to happen in this book. But then what's gonna happen in the other books? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be a cliffhanger. I ain't got a clue with this book.
1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer. Breezes seem to whisper.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't have truths that have just come out now that I didn't expect. I'm just like, what? I'm also annoyed. And I still hate Tamlin, or Tamlin as everyone calls him. Oh my god, I just checked. I've only got 200 pages left. And so much has happened in the space of like 60 pages that this war could happen in the next 200 pages, can't lie. Words cannot even explain how amazing this book is. I'm genuinely in shock at the things that have come out. I can sit and read my book with my headphones on. I just want to experience the last 100 pages. I'm at page 600, so I've got 103 pages left. I've read so much. I'm obsessed with this book. It is so good, honestly. And the amount of things that have happened, like the battles, the fighting, the stakes, it's so high. And we found more out about Mor and about her past and the truth behind her. And I was welling up so much. I've cried twice. Plot is just brilliant. The amount of like twists and turns that are happening, the amount of like withheld information and then it's revealed, it's just done in such a good way. I'm so happy with this book. It's just perfection. We're being given really small bits of information as we go along. It's not all like thrown at us at once. It's like a little bit at a time, but done in such a good way that you feel like you actually know these characters. You feel like you're actually chatting with these characters. You know these people on a different level. And that is why I think this book series is so beloved, because you truly feel like you understand these characters, you feel for them, you feel like you know how they'd react in certain situations. Oh my god, that was amazing. that is my all-time favorite book of ACOTAR right now, that, because it had an ending. It had an ending that I wasn't going, wait, what's gonna happen now? I actually felt okay now. I feel happy, and I'm very happy with the ending. I'm so glad. I loved that. It was brilliant. The battle, oh my god, every twist and turn and shot, it was brilliant. The stakes were so ridiculously high, and I mean, you can tell from my smile, I'm very happy by the ending. That was a brilliant ending. I really, really loved that. And the ending was a happy ending, which I wanted. Brilliant book. That is my favourite ACOTAR book so far. Definitely this one. Then A Court of Mist and Fury. And then A Court of Thorns and Roses. But yeah, A Court of Wings and Ruin. A favourite one so far. The reasons I think it's my favourite ACOTAR book, by the way, are the plot was phenomenal, and the twists and turns, the pacing, all of it was brilliant. There were so many different settings, whereas with the first book, I felt like it was only set in the Spring Court and Under the Mountain. The second book was only set in like 3 locations. This one, we went to literally every court, like, well, not all of them, but most of them. Like, I'm just in shock at how many courts we actually visited in this book, which I just loved. I loved how many places we visited, the scenery changed. I loved how many characters we were introduced to. There were so many characters in this book. The battle was everything. The build-up to the battle was amazing, and the actual battle did not disappoint. It was brilliant. Honestly, it hyped it up to the right level, and I really, really enjoyed it. The Weaver, the Bone Carver, oh my god, so many things. Like, I loved it. So this book has been on my list of things to read for a long time now. So this is Powerless. It says hunted, hunter, destined for each other. And it's about these 2 people called Kai and Payden. But I did get 20 pages in. Okay, I'm trying to see how many pages this book has got without ruining the ending for myself. Okay, so there's 502 pages. That's not too bad. I can do that. This one is 703, so I can do 502. But I'm gonna take a break tonight, and I'm probably gonna pick this up tomorrow and give it a go. I'm really, really excited for this one. I know it's gonna be good, and there's a whole new world for me to delve into in this one. Like, I'll need to really get my mind around that it's not ACOTAR. I feel like I should be doing a palette cleanser in between 2 series, but this is really a standalone right now because the second book's not out yet. So I'm just gonna not do a palette cleanser and just go straight into this one. I just sat here, I realised I didn't actually tell you my rating. So I said all the good things about that book. I just want to say real quick now, because I've actually had a minute to think about what the hell I just said in that video clip. This book for me is a 5-star, definitely. A 5-star, hands down, best book of ACOTAR in my opinion. I really, really loved it, it was great. And I thought the character development was great. The different places that we visited was amazing. The amount of places we went to, it wasn't all just set in 1 or 2 courts, it was in loads of places. The battle was great, pacing was amazing, and the villain, the Highburn King, he was everything. He was such a good villain, and there was no redeeming qualities about him. I loved it. I loved the amount of things in the past that were brought up, like people who were in different wars, and we saw more about Jurian. The new title that Feyre had, I just thought it was a perfect transition, like seeing the way that Cassie and Asriel reacted to her based on this new title, and more finding out about Moore's background, like so much more about her and the secrets she's been keeping. Honestly, this book was an all-rounder amazing book, and it was brilliant. I'm just so happy about it. So 5 stars for me. Absolutely adored this. Started Powerless. I couldn't sound more unenthusiastic right now. I'm at page 52. Fantasy world is very much like medieval. There's like horse and carts and stuff. We've not really met too many people right now, any staple characters as of right now. We've mainly just met Kai and Payden. Payden is quite poor, she's not very well off, and she survives with her friend. What's her friend called? Adina, that's her name. So Paige and Adina kind of work together, and they thieve and things. The world is giving right now Hunger Games with I don't want to say bodyguards, but I can't remember what they're called. They're basically the same as like the people in the Hunger Games. Imperials, that's what they're called. So there's these people who are called Imperials, and they're kind of like soldiers in a way. In my opinion, they're literally like in the Hunger Games. Do you remember the peacekeepers? They're literally the same. They like beat people if they do wrong, and they hurt them and stuff. It's giving Hunger Games, so I don't know if that's why I'm not into it right now. I don't know. I feel like I'm 52 pages in, and when I was 52 pages into ACOTAR, I swear that I was like hooked. And I always, unintentionally, you do compare your book to whatever genre that other books are in. So I don't know if I explained that right, but what I mean is, when I read a romance, if it's a little bit spicy, I always compare it to like Chestnut Springs or the Twisted series. If I'm reading a fantasy, I tend to compare it to ACOTAR or Fourth Wing, because those are the two big fantasies that I've read that really were great for me. Right now, this is not living up to the hype. I am only 52 pages in, but it's definitely slow. The last time I read a slow fantasy was Six of Crows, and that ended up being brilliant, but that was a very world building sort of book. This, I don't know. I don't know if it's the dual perspective. I honestly think it's probably because we've not seen that many characters that have been like long lasting and like that we can tell are going to be important. Whereas like when I read ACOTAR, we were introduced to Elaine, Nesta, the dad, Feyre, Lucian, Tamlin, loads of people, and this, I don't know. Like, this is bordering to me more on dystopian than fantasy right now, just because we've not seen much about powers. We've seen a little bit of Kai, and not much, like really not much. It's not giving fantasy right now. Right now, the book isn't giving what's inside. The book is giving fantasy and like, wow. The actual inside, like not the cover, is kind of giving dystopian. It's giving dystopian, it's giving like medieval style Hunger Games. I'm really struggling to read this book right now, basically, because I feel like with me, a book needs to be incredibly unique for me to really enjoy it. So like ACOTAR, I always talk about ACOTAR because that is incredibly unique to me. That is pure fantasy and the fairies and everything. Fourth Wing, dragons, I've never read anything like it. The Twisted series, yeah, okay, it's about like billionaires, as it usually is with romance, but each person is like an individual and each plot is completely different. This is literally giving off Hunger Games, and because it's such a big franchise, the Hunger Games, and I know about it so much, it's kind of not shocking the stuff that's happening right now, and I'm just like, it's literally just making me think, okay, where's Peter? I'm not getting the vibe. I'm struggling with this book basically. Now 50 pages in. This book is painful. Not even in the good way. Like, this book is actually painful. I'm at page 122 and my annotating is making me laugh. Like, I'm like, knock off Hunger Games. What else is it that I put? I've annotated loads, I just all of a sudden can't find it. Oh, I really can't stand this book right now. I just think it's written so poorly. So for a start, I think the map looks pretty boring, if I'm honest. I don't like it compared to other maps I've seen. Like, for a start, I can barely see it because of how it's been printed, like with this middle section. It looks okay, but it looks really bad. I like Paige and I think she's okay, but she's giving like Katniss vibes and I'm not vibing with it. I feel like it's just knock off Hunger Games at this point. Kai is incredibly cocky, cannot stand him. I'm just sick of him already. And the way in which we have met these people who have been selected for the trials is just, it's giving Hunger Games. And I was thinking maybe it's gonna be different, maybe it's just gonna be similar, but then we find out that these trials have like interviews and they need to impress the public because they're the people who vote for them, and it's basically giving like the sponsors from the Hunger Games. I'm talking about having like a ball and you've got to impress people who are watching the games. Like, it's giving Hunger Games, and I am not one who likes reading like things that are basically the same as other stories. Like, it's literally giving knockoff Hunger Games, like set in like medieval times. I don't know where I said I was up to last time, but I've read a little bit. In fact, no, Sam read to me, okay? I was really struggling with reading this book. So Sam reads to me sometimes, like reads her books to me when I'm like on makeup off and stuff. So he had a go, and even he's cringing at some of the writing. Like, I have just so many problems with this book. So I'm at page 145, so I don't know if that's much different to where we were, but that's where I am right now. And I've just got so many problems. Like, Kai's character is just giving off like poor little rich boy. I really don't like it. The way that they're trying to set up this enemies to lovers is really cringy to me. Like, there's a scene where he's braiding her hair and it just comes across very cringe, like Wattpaddy. Even some of the interactions between Kai and his mum are very Wattpaddy, like they're just not coming across realistic. I'd say that Payden's character is likeable. Kai's character isn't likeable, but I don't know if that's the intention. But either way, even when you've got a character that's not likeable, you can appreciate how it's written, and I just can't appreciate how it's written. I wrote Lidl's version of The Hunger Games. I know how many people love this book, and I don't know if that's like, I'd say maybe the hype is what's putting me off, but it's not, because I've read so many overhyped books that I've enjoyed. Like, I've read Fourth Wing and that was phenomenal. I've read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, great books. I've even read books that have been absolutely like overhyped on TikTok, and I thought, yeah, they're decent, but they're not my favourite. Like, I've had books like, I'm just thinking, Love and Other Words. I was like, great book, yeah, but not the best thing I've ever read. And what I'm trying to say is that I can appreciate hyped books as they are. So like, I don't think it's that this book is hyped and I'm just not seeing the hype. I think it's just I'm not enjoying this book in all honesty. I just feel like a lot of the characters in this are replicating Hunger Games characters. I mean, there's a character in it called Teal something, Teela, and she's got blue hair and she's the announcer. And she's constantly described as having these like gleaming bright teeth like Caesar from Hunger Games, and she's the announcer. And the way that she's coming across is very much like a replica of Caesar. I don't like that. I don't like replicating things that I've already read / watched. I just feel like, to me, it's lazy. And I think that's purely why I'm not enjoying this, because to me, this is just literally giving Hunger Games. But Kai is just, his responses to things and the way he's written give very like cocky vibes. So the line on chapter 17, like the first line says, "I almost don't dodge in time. Only years of fighting allow my reflexes to react so quickly." Like, you're talking up your own arse saying, oh my god, I had years of training and experience. Is it needed? Is it necessary? The way it comes across is very like, oh, look at me. But it's not like the character is saying, oh, look at, it's like the writer's way of writing it I just don't like. And that might be just that I don't like the writing style, and that is okay. I'm just really not enjoying this book, and I think this is not going to get a good rating from me as of so far. And I was thinking maybe it's just because I'm only at the start, but I'm 145 pages in, like, come on. I might try and listen to it for a bit, see if that makes it easier, because I genuinely find myself reading it and rolling my eyes like crazy. Like, I'm not into this book. It's very, not getting great vibes. So, I'm halfway through the book now. I am 50% through the audio book. So I'm just gonna say I'm 50% through. I'm at page 248, and that is that much, so I'm halfway through. Okay, I've got to be honest, I'm not enjoying it still. I thought I would be. The audiobook is making it bearable to get through. Definitely is helping with like pushing me to like read on more and just get through this book. But I'm not enjoying it. Too many of the things are replicating Hunger Games, like the main character having a bow, like a bow and arrow, and it all being set in a forest. Like, there's little bits and pieces, and they've all got to like fight to the death. Loads and loads of like things like that are just giving too many aspects of Hunger Games for me. Like, I just feel like it's copying too much for me to be even interested in this book. And I really like The Hunger Games, but I like it on its own as a little franchise. I don't like it when books replicate things like that. I just find it really unoriginal, and I don't find interest in it because I already know that format of like The Hunger Games. Like, I've already watched the films and stuff. I don't need to read another franchise try and replicate it. No, I'm not vibing with it. I'm cringing more than anything. Like, I find myself more often than not going, ugh. Like, in one of the phrases used, which I genuinely sat there and went, what? Was when one of them said, if you die, I'm gonna have to kill you for it. What the hell does that even mean? So a lot of the phrases just seem like they're being said for like comedic value as well, and like just trying to have like a jokey banter in it. But when you think about them, and you think about this not being a book as well, think about these characters actually saying these things, it's like, well, that character would never have said that in real life. That's not realistic in the slightest. I also think one of the other things about the writing that I'm not enjoying is the fact that things are getting repeated so many times. So she says like, oh, I need water. 5 minutes later she's saying how she needs water again, and then she's saying how she's dehydrated, how she's probably hallucinating because she needs water, and how, oh my god, I hope there's a stream coming up soon. It's like, okay, we get it, you need water. Let's find the water then. Like, let's stop talking about it and move on, because it's taking up pages just talking about the same stuff over and over. I'm honestly not enjoying the romance, not enjoying the powers and stuff. I find it's quite boring, and the powers that people have are not very interesting. Like, they're very generic. So we've got someone who can make fire, someone who can teleport, someone who can clone themselves, and someone who can move things with their mind, okay? None of that's interesting. All of that is basic stuff that you could come up with to write, like, if you were in primary school and you were writing like an English essay or something, you were writing a little like short story. Those are things that kids would think of. I'm not even lying, like, that is not inventive to me, and it's not interesting. Quite a few hours, and I have been persevering with this. I have got to this last section. I've got about 100 pages left. I'm at page 414, and it's got better, I will say that. So the first trial was very Hunger Games, very predictable as well, and I was just not into it. The second trial was I'd say it was better, but it wasn't, because it was so short. I was like, is that really a trial compared to the first one? So the third trial's coming up. I don't know what the third trial's gonna be. The king is clearly someone that we're not meant to like. He's like the evil person in this story. Definitely giving like Snow vibes from Hunger Games, though, I can't lie. See, I'm kicking myself because I like Pei and Kai. I think they're cute together, but I can't like them that much because I can't help but think like they've not had much of a build-up. Like, the build-up to their relationship is not really there. So it just felt like the whole first trial, the way that them two acted around each other was strange to me, because I just thought, you two have barely actually shown each other affection. Like, how the hell has this happened? The truth has come out about this whole like rebellion situation, the resistance, which is interesting, but I'm not invested enough to really be bothered about it. It's not really come up enough. And it seems now the story is focusing more on Kai and Pei's relationship and not the plot, which I don't mind, but I feel like we're missing out on a big chunk of their relationship at the start. Like, the build-up just wasn't there for me personally. I think I'm just not keen on Lauren Roberts' writing, if I'm honest, because I've just found myself constantly, when I'm starting to enjoy it, something brings it back. Like, I'm starting to enjoy it, the trial was getting better, the relationships with all the characters was getting interesting, and then it lost it again. Like, it seems like we're getting a glimpse of these other characters, but not really much. The characters that we seem to get to know the most about are Kay, Payden, and Kit, and that's it really. So I'm gonna persevere and finish this, and I'll probably update you tomorrow, but I'm definitely finishing it tonight.
Okay, to finish this video in a very unconventional place, I'm in my car, but I want to finish it now before I forget. Finished Powerless last night. When I tell you how difficult it was to get through that book, how do you guys like that book? How does anyone like that book? I had to use the audiobook to get me remotely into that book. I had to use the audiobook to push through and make myself read on and force myself to get through it. I'll be honest, from where I left you, we had the second and I think we just had the third trial left. So the third trial for me was nicked from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Literally just word for word. I did not like that maze. I think it was executed so blandly for this trial being hyped up the way it was. Is someone gonna look after this chat? Whoa! I did not just see that. There was a straight up toddler about 5 years old running into the road wait, no, it's definitely younger than 5. That was like a 4-year-old running into the road. No one was looking after it. God, my heart. So Lauren has basically magpied this idea from the Goblet of Fire. It felt like the plot twist with who was in the trial wasn't a plot twist to me. To me, it just felt like, oh, so we've been seeing this reoccurring character to shock us. I hadn't seen this character enough for me to care about them, basically. Also, the whole thing with the resistance, I was genuinely sat there thinking, you have hyped this up so much for this resistance to literally not have that much of an impact. And I just found them such a lame storyline. I couldn't believe it. It felt like a lot of the topics in this book were skimmed over to get into the next thing. So, for instance, we had loads in like the plot and the scenery, and then finally within like a 200 pages, we all of a sudden had romance, which came out of nowhere for me, for my opinion. And then all of a sudden we went back to having more plot, but that plot was now a bit wishy-washy because we'd had no plot for like 100 pages. Like it just felt like the plot and the romance should have coexisted, and it didn't. I was just like, what is happening? I didn't like the romance. Kai's character was too cocky for me. Not in a, oh, he's cocky because he's good kind of way. He's cocky because he's cocky. That's it. I'm kidding. And I said to myself, I swear to God, if X, Y, and Z happens, I'm not going to be happy because I shouldn't be able to guess this ending, this big plot twist. Because I'm not good at guessing endings. All of the ACOTAR books shocked me. Loads of romances have shocked me. Some have gone, oh, I hoped that would happen, but I didn't know it would happen in that way. Really crap at guessing the endings of books. And the fact that I could guess it so quickly in a book that I'm not even invested in says a lot about the book. I just really didn't enjoy it, and I'm gonna give it, I'd say a 3-star. There were aspects I enjoyed. So when Kai and Hayden did have like a romance bit, I think it was like around page 400, page 350, I did think, oh, this is really cute. Setting aside the fact that there is absolutely no build up to you guys being this close to each other, just looking at the chapter in itself, that is really cute. But then you can't help but think, but it makes no sense to why you two know each other this well, or why you like each other. It makes absolutely no sense because there's been no build up. It really frustrated me. And then on top of that, it just felt like the very ending, it was just such a cop out and just a way to say, oh, what's going to happen in the next 2 books, but I don't care. So I'm not going to be reading the next 2 books. I am tempted to drop it to a 2-star, but right now it's a 3-star, but I don't know. Right now it's a 3-star, I'll give it that, but I honestly didn't like it. The characters were lackluster, the story was lackluster, the setting was decent, but it was literally giving Lidl version of the Hunger Games. The maze was just knockoff Harry Potter. I mean, the first trial was just the Hunger Games, the second trial was just blur, and there was the stakes weren't very high either, which I feel like in a book about anybody can die, like it should have been higher stakes, but barely anything happened. I just really didn't like the book, I'll be honest. I honestly really didn't like the book. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I read 2 TikTok hype books, and I hope you have enjoyed my commentary and my opinions on them. If you like these books, tell me down below. If you've got any other books that you want me to read, tell me as well. I've started doing polls on here, so always interact with the polls because it entertains me. Bye.